Hi, how are you doing? Now, guys, there are these questions regarding when your interview will be based on your case number. We have just begun the DV Lottery 2025 interviews. We are in the month of October and the interviews have already begun. And now, based on your case number and the cutoff numbers on the visa bulletin, you want to try and gauge when your interview might be scheduled. And these questions are valid. It's okay to worry about this. But in this video, I want to discuss with you about the prediction. The first thing that you should know is that people tend to use various information to try and predict when their interviews will be. And the first one is the past information. That is the information from the past DV lotteries. Others take the cutoff numbers and try to predict their chances or when their interviews will be based on the cutoff numbers and many other factors. But is it accurate to predict when your case number will get scheduled for the interview? Now, let's discuss this. For the DV Lottery 2025, we don't yet have any information regarding the numbers. What do I mean by the numbers? First of all, we don't know or we can't tell how many interviews have been scheduled so far. We cannot tell how many have received their second notification letters by now. All these numbers, we will get them from the 1st of January 2025, and it will be provided by the CEAC website. We shall get all this information from January 1st, and then we shall see how the interviews were scheduled, how many were scheduled, how many were received, how many visas were denied. All those information we shall get to know about. And number two, for most of the fiscal years, what we've been observing is that during the first few months, the interview process tend to be much slower. In other words, not big numbers of interviews are handled within the first few months. They tend to start slowly and then afterwards they increase the pace. And therefore, this simply means that you cannot look at the cutoff number for a certain region and then try to gauge your case number per that cutoff number. In any case, you cannot use the cutoff number for the first month to predict the end of the DV interviews by the end of the fiscal year. You cannot say, for example, for Africa, for the visa bulletin, we have cutoff number as 15,000, and then you multiply it by 12 and you try to gauge the interview progress. You can do that. In some months, many cases will be scheduled, some others, very few cases, depending on many factors, like, for example, the rate at which your embassy is performing. Therefore, you can't use the cutoff number to predict when your interview might be. And this also goes without saying that you cannot look at the past DV interview program and try to gauge when your interview will be. For example, if your case number is AS 5000 and in the past DV lottery, that case 5000 was interviewed in January. And so you say, mine is 5000 for this year, and therefore I will be interviewed in January. You can't say that. That 5,000 from the Asia region that was interviewed in January in the last DV lottery might not be the same with this current DV lottery. You might find out that the 5,000 might be interviewed much earlier or much later than last year's 5,000 case number. So you can't use the past DV history to predict when your interview will be. And again, as I have already mentioned, that the speed at which your embassy is performing affects when your interview will be. If your embassy is performing as required, then your interview might be even earlier than you think. But if your embassy is slow, you might end up getting your interview even later than you might be predicting. And if you're predicting, of which I don't encourage that because it is hard, you might consider what we call density. And this I will discuss into details in another video. That the density of the cases in a region affects when an interview might be. That is one among the factors. You might find out that for example, 1,000 you get in the first months of the fiscal year, there are many selectees, maybe around 70 to 90%. But as the fiscal year progresses, as the number increases throughout the case number range, the density per 1,000 keep on decreasing. That is the density of the selectees per 1,000 keeps on decreasing. And therefore, you might find out that the cutoff number will keep on increasing as the fiscal year continues, because the number of selectees within a certain number will continue decreasing as the case numbers become larger and larger. So that can also be a factor in determining when your interview might be. So what am I saying all along? What I'm trying to underpin is that prediction is something hard for a DV lottery. I see other YouTubers trying to predict when a case number might get its interview, but majority of them, they end up predicting incorrectly because it is a hard thing to do. Like we've seen KCC having a technical problem in this month in scheduling interviews, though it did not go for a long time. But you see, that can also lead to some delay. So prediction is something hard to do. There are many factors that change every year that affect the DV interview scheduling process. So I cannot tell exactly when your case number will get scheduled. You cannot do that, and nobody else can do that. What we need to do is to keep watch and trace the visa bulletin. Keep watch on the visa bulletin, and that can be the only thing to do. So sorry for frustrating you or disappointing you, but that's how DV program is. Thank you guys for watching this video. We shall do many other explainer videos regarding the DV lottery. What I want to say is that I wish you all the best in the DV lottery program. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like the video, share with your friends, and spread the information. Let's meet in the next video.